Ready? Ready? Hello, everybody. I'm Tony. This is the Arcade Wood Shop. Finally, Gabriel has made it back to the shop. Hey, buddy. Sorry, guys. We haven't done a video in a while. Things have been kind of tough around here. My dad died. I had another relapse on my heart issue. The hurricane hit our area pretty hard. And so we've just been a little bit down and depressed, not wanting to really be in the shop that much other than filling orders for control panels, and decided we're going to get back to our roots then with Gabriel. Then we're going to get back to basics. I felt like I was kind of getting a little sloppy with my skills, so we went back to doing some furniture type stuff and some little projects that I wanted to do just to get my skill level back up using my hand tools, my planes and my chisels and my back saws and dovetail saws. And we did a few small projects. Made this for Gabriel, baseball bats. We made a couple of them. This one right here we keep around the shop. This is kind of our Gabriel's protection agency. So in case anybody else tries to decide to break into the shop. And then around Christmas we made a few old school skateboards for the local kids. This one I made for myself. And we got to work with a lot of hardwoods, maple, mahogany, walnut. And I think they turned out pretty good. But today's video is on repairing the veneer on your cabinets. And we're going to show you a few different ways to do it, depending on how severe your veneer is turned off. And you ready to get into that video? Oh, we got to do something else? Okay. Well, seeing it is the first of the year and how 2024 was so terrible and 2025 was going to be a really good year, I hope. We came out with a new control panel. And the control panel that we reproduced is the Stargate panel for the Williams Cabaret. Now this panel was loaned to me by Chris Hannaford. Really nice guy. He's one of my customers. He's bought several of my control panels. And he mentioned he had this one. And he was worried about it. It took him a while to get it to me. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. Nobody has it. You know, when I get it, I get it. Well, he got it for me, and so we reproduced those. And here's what they look like. You know, 100% perfect reproduction of the originals. Now, I have another customer of mine who helped me get the Cabaret control panels for the Williams Robotron. Didn't he, Gabriel? Huh? You ain't paying attention? So I don't know, dude. But Patrick was able to talk to the guy and loaned me one, and I reproduced those. And just to be a little appreciative of what I've done, our friend Jerry from the Overtime Arcade Discord, he goes by the name Jerry Voluptuous, ordered 3 panels for me that I hardly ever make, the Mortal Kombat 2s and the Killer Instincts. But when I noticed, when I took those orders, that, hey, that's 599 panels that I made. So these are number 600. This one right here. And this one's going to Patrick. Not only is it the 600th panel I made, it's also the very first one of these. And I'm only going to do about 30 of these. They're very limited. And once they're gone, I'll never do any more of them. So I'm going to sign these and number them. Number 600 and number 1 to this side. So Patrick, appreciate everything you've done for me, buddy, and hope you guys like the video. Ready to start? Let's get started. Okay, guys, what I've got here is a side of a Miss Pac-Man cabinet. This one is not in very good shape, and I keep these in the shop for templates or for veneer that I need to, if I need a piece of veneer to repair a cabinet. It's always better to have the original veneer because it's a little thicker. It's already painted or whatever. So, you know, it's a closer match to a repair. So today we're going to do the first one, which is a simple repair. You got a place on the edge where you bumped your cabinet moving it, and it's raised up the edge of the veneer. Now, you don't want that to get any worse. So it's a simple fix, and we'll show you how to do it. And all we're going to use is a block of wood, a $3 clamp from Harbor Freight, and a hypodermic needle or a syringe, whichever you prefer to call it, filled with watered down glue. Now I use original Tide and I keep it warm in a heat plate. Now that is because glue flows better when it's warm, and the needles have these small tips on them. I don't know if you can see that, or can't get to focus. But the repair is simple. You'll take your air hose, and I've already done it, and blow out where you need to fill it. You shoot your glue underneath really good, because like this one right here has a place where there's a little bitty splinter of wood sticking up. It's not as big as the rest of the cabinet, and we're going to fix that. And all you got to do is inject the glue, take your finger. Important, push it down with your finger before you put the clamp and block on it. That way you know it's sitting where it's supposed to be. Take your block of wood, press it down with your hand in place. Take your clamp, install the clamp. That's why I like these, because you can do it with one hand. You don't have to have two hands to do it. Wipe off the excess glue with a wet wash rag. Let that set for just a few seconds. Take the clamp back loose. Wipe off any glue that is on top of the cabinet, because you don't want that taken away from the look of the original cabinet, because that glue will look white and it'll show up like a sore thumb if you don't, and it'll show that you repaired it, and you don't want that. So there you go, guys. That's repaired. Now let's say you had a place in the middle of the cabinet where the veneer is bubbled up, and anybody who's messed with video games for a long time knows that's very common. You know, but how do you put glue underneath it to glue it back down to where it doesn't show? You don't want to cut it, because that's only going to make it worse. So you take your hypodermic needle, you stick it right into the raised up area, and inject the glue. Okay, get your good bit of glue all the way around. Take your piece of wood, lay it down on top of it, push it down, lay you a heavy item like a brick or something of that nature on there. Let it set for 20, 30 minutes. Finished. You don't have to sand it. You don't have to repair it. Everything is original, and nobody's ever going to know the difference. That's the first process of how to repair veneer. Next, we're going to show you how to repair, say, this area right here. So if you had a chunk this size taken out and you wanted to repair it, I'm going to show you how to do that using the original wood. Okay, we're going to start on this repair right here. Let's say you've got a nice cabinet, but this is all that you have missing off of it. Most people would say, heck, I'm not even going to bother with it. But other people go like, I really don't like that. That's tacky. And you can do this if it's got multiple places, the same technique. I know a lot of people think that Bondo is the God's gift to the arcade world. I really don't like Bondo. The deal with an area like this, if you put Bondo in there, there's very little for it to bond to, and eventually it's going to come loose. So what I've done is, I robbed a piece of veneer from the back of this cabinet. I've done the same thing. I cleaned all the glue off of it and got it to the final layer of veneer. And I cut a block, the same size, same width as this piece of veneer. Cut them both at the same time. Now what you want to do is, you take this block of wood, get you some glue, put your glue on the block of wood. You don't want it really heavy, but since I watered this down and got it setting in the warm glue, it's a little thicker than it should be. Place it over top of the piece that you want to replace. Clamp it in place. Take your wet rag, wipe off the excess glue. Let that dry for about 20 or 30 minutes. Then we'll take the clamp off of it, and that piece of wood will be bonded. So we're going to jump ahead to the next 20 or 30 minutes and let you see the process of how to remove that and square it off to where we fit this piece in. So bear with us, and when that dries, we'll be back. Okay, guys, we're back. The little piece of wood is attached. So now all we have to do is figure out what I do with my razor blade. Here it lays. Take your razor blade, run it along the edge of the wood, and score the veneer on the side of the cabinet on all three sides. And I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. This is really hard to get a good view for the camera. But we let this thing sit a little longer than I said because we mentioned the name Jerry Voluptuous a while ago. And Gable reminded me that, hey, Jerry makes pizzas at his pizza place. And I'm like, yes, he does. Gable said, boy, a pizza sure would be good right now. So I had to take Gable out for pizza. So it took me a little longer to get back than I expected. But we got here. So we're going to get it done. Now, when you're cutting the veneer with a razor blade, be very careful because you want it to be a straight edge. And if you're not really careful, the blade will get it caught into the grain of the wood if you try to go too deep. So make several passes. And when it gets caught in the grain of the wood, it wants to run off track. It doesn't want to stay straight. But we're getting pretty close on this. Now, I know this is just a small piece that we're repairing right here, but you could use the same technique to cut the whole bottom off the edge and replace all the veneer all the way across if you wanted to. I wouldn't go that way. This is just for doing a small repair. If I was going to do that, I would just take the whole line of veneer off and replace it with a piece of wood and sand it down to fit because you want that bottom edge to be straight. But for this, you know, just to be able to replace the veneer, this is the best way to do it. And this thing doesn't want to cut really well. I hope I'm not getting in the way of the video. We got it now. So that's what it should look like. Then you take your chisel or knife and just clean out the extra pieces like so. You may have to square it up just a little bit if you get a little jagged. Now you take your piece of veneer wherever it went. Maybe this is it. Let's see. I don't think that's it. Nope, that's not it. What did I do with it? Everything got moved around here. Oh no. What have I done? Here we go. And just insert that into that cutout. Get you some glue. Put it on the back side. Spread it out really good. Cover the entire piece of veneer. I don't like using my fingers, but I don't have any of the little small paint brushes today. We ran out. Then replace it where it goes. And if you find out that you're not bonding well or lining up exactly right, that maybe you're got off a little bit where you're cutting, you can always go back and trim this piece. See, that one seems to be a little wide. I don't know if that's the correct piece or not. Looks like it is. I think I got a little cut in too much when I cut it with a razor blade and cut it at an angle. But you can always go back and trim it with your razor blade. Yeah, I think it's got just a little slither there that doesn't want to fit right. So now that is how to repair it. You take your glue, your block of wood, place on it, clamp it down, And the clamp not only holds it in place, but it also levels it out with the rest of the veneer. So then when it's set up and glued really good and dried, which I don't think I have enough glue under that. See if I got any left in the syringe. And a toothpick is also good to spread glue in places like this where you can't get your fingers in. We use a lot of toothpicks. We use a lot of brushes and pretty much anything that makes the job easier in tight spots. But now that piece should fit right in there, and with the glue it should bond really well, and you won't have much of a gap like so. And that is how you repair the piece of veneer. And once that dries out, put a little pressure on it, you can take your sander or a piece of sandpaper. See if I've got a piece here. Remove your clamp. When you go to resand the whole cabinet, just sand it lightly. That way it's flush all the way around. You've used the same thickness veneer. The only difference will be the glue that's underneath the wood. And then you can repaint your cabinet or whatever you want to do, or just touch this up. But that's how you repair the veneer that's chipped out or broken out. But like I said, you can do each one of these little pieces individually with different size pieces of veneer, and that would take forever. I would recommend cutting out with a straight edge, removing all the excess weight or excess wood. Take your block of wood. I like to use pine, select pine. You can get it like Lowe's or Home Depot. Just get you a piece 3 inches wide, put it in place, run it through your saw, cut it in half unless you can get the 1/4 inch. Glue it down, clamp it. You're good to go once you sand it down. But that's how you patch the veneer on this Pac-Man or a Williams cabinet or any type of plywood arcade cabinet. And I know that's a little, doesn't look as good as it should with all this old veneer all ragged and all, but it gives you the process of how to do it. And with a little practice, you can do it just as good as anybody. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. And be sure and leave a comment. I appreciate all of y'all watching. Have a nice day.